Good afternoon, Westwood, and welcome to the Wolverine Report, episode 42. Joined as always, co-host and producer Evan Cardimino, Charlotte Lynch, technical director. We also got Melinda Garfield here. We are at the beautiful Deerfield School. Got the facilities here. Evan, this brings a special feeling to my heart. This is where I learned how to play soccer on these fields. Saw a lot of softball games. My sister playing softball right over there. But what an amazing backdrop we have today for us. Very special episode covering the top 10 sports.
I know, we have a great day. We couldn't have asked for a better day. You know, this summer we've had days where it's 90 and humid and you don't want to do anything, but today it's like 75 and sunny, a little bit of cloud cover. You couldn't ask for a better day. I mean, when we were bringing the gear over today, I know Charlotte walked over enjoying the weather, so I don't blame Charlotte at all. I wish I could too, but I carted the gear over in my car, so I didn't want to walk over with all that gear. But what a great day to recap the top 10 vote.
Yeah, absolutely. And to put a bow on an amazing spring season, and that spring season culminating the full season of coverage of Westwood Media Center games. And my goodness, there were so many great memories that we had. But before getting into the top 10, we'll cover your top 10, my top 10, also the people's top 10. There were some honorable mentions. Let's go through that.
Yeah, so just to give a little insight too with the vote, we had 33 nominees this year across all three seasons. Last year we did a little different because we just covered the spring together. And part of the reason we did honorable mentions is because there's so many plays that happen, so many great plays that the Westwood athletes have over the course of the season. We just don't cover all of them. So in the sake of fairness, we wanted to just cover stuff that was filmed by Westwood Media Center specifically. So that's why they were nominees, because there were some plays that we kept getting on repeat. So for example, the Jaden Pollock, as you've coined it, the save, and Liam Williams' game-winning goal versus Marshfield. We also have Troy Frederickson's game-winning goal versus Longmeadow, Jack Roycroft's 100th career goal, Caroline Nozzolillo's 250th career goal, Liz Levering's penalty shot goal against
the playoffs.
In the playoffs against, I believe it was.
Was it Walpole? Walpole or Longmeadow?
I think she had two actually.
Yeah.
Trevor Ferreira's game-tying goal versus Bill Ricca.
Huge. We
had a Drew Donegan home run in a game that I'm not quite aware of. It was a game we didn't cover. Seb O'Brien's first career goal in lacrosse. Harper Morrison's record-setting shutouts over the course of the season. Maeve Gavin's win in the 800 meters at All States. The girls cross-country state championship.
Yep.
Girls 4x800 qualifying for nationals. The Donovan's goals versus Dover, Sherborne, and Weston. That was a game you were at.
That was fantastic.
Reed Boger's incredible upset for a TVL Large Championship. Track's 4x800 state championship win. Kiara Chee's TVL championship, and she went from 8th to 4th in the last lap.
Wow.
And then Maeve Gavin's 600 and 800 meter divisional championships.
Incredible.
So a lot of great plays by Westwood athletes.
Yeah.
The reason those players weren't nominees is just because simply we don't go to all the games. We go to as many as we can, but
a lot of road games too.
A lot of road games.
So they're out there. I did get to see the save. I did get to see the over. Those would be probably at the top of my list. The Pollock save, the Williams goal. But I also got to give a shout out Maeve Gavin. So what Maeve Gavin did this year is she won a state championship in every season. She won the cross country in the fall. She won the indoor, I believe it was like a 600. It's a different distance than outdoor. And then outdoor, she won an individual 800 meter and the team 4x800. So she might be the only athlete in Westwood High School sports history to have won a state championship 3 times in the same year, 3 different seasons. So remarkable. Shout out Maeve. I'm doing more research to kind of figure out like how special it is, but it is one of the most special, stories of the year. There's no question about that.
Yeah, once again, I look at this list of honorable mentions and then our nominees, and one thing about the nominees that we did have is every nominee received multiple votes. Everyone got a vote, and I think you can make an argument that just about all these plays could be worthy of a top 10 spot at any place on the list. But moments you mentioned, Jaden Pollock the save, Liam Williams game-winning goal. I look at Nozzolillo's 250th career goal. That's a stellar career.
Incredible
for Caroline Nozzolillo. Yeah. So definitely great moments all around. But Morgan, let's talk about our top 10s.
Absolutely.
So in addition to the people's vote, Morgan and I do our own top 10. So Morgan, why don't you give the people your top 10 first?
Absolutely. Let's cue the music. So right into the top 10, number 10, I had Charlotte DeMayo's game-sealing goal versus Duxbury. So when I consider top plays, it is the opponent. It is the circumstance. We're looking at Duxbury to send Westwood to the Final Four. It was a spectacular goal. It was a clutch goal, and it was by a great player who's a well-decorated player in Westwood history. Number 9, Angelina Holmesy, senior night. I think it might have been my first or second volleyball game I've ever done, but it was an electric atmosphere. Tied up in the third set. Westwood was looking to close it out, some adversity there, and Holmesy just went up and got it. And then the next one in a row, I go, Holmesy again! And an electric moment that put them on their way to winning that game on senior night, no less. Trevor Ferreira, game-winning goal versus Norwood. Amazing play he made to create some space, get the left foot on that one, found the back of the net. We were loud for that one. Mario Vinci, talked about this play with brother Joe Vinci. He was watching from South Bend, Indiana. Fantastic play. He got robbed though on the, I thought it was a touchdown. They set him up short on the one, but he did get that scoop and score. So, it's poetic justice, I guess, for that. Aaron Gannon, what a goal. Westwood beats Hopkinton the first time in 2 years. Hopkinton was undefeated. It had been a while, and Hopkinton's D1. They were the number 3 team in the state. Gannon scores the insurance goal to put Westwood up 3-1 and close out that game. Also big goals in that game were Lindsay Bannister and Olivia Shea to tie it up, put them ahead. But that was a huge goal and a big win. John Bertone, Max Burrell, we talk about it all the time, Evan. We don't see too many home runs at Russ Downs Field. And then we saw back-to-back home runs in back-to-back innings between John Bertone and Max Burrell in the same spot in the beach volleyball court. We had a good laugh because, how often do you see a home run but in the same spot in the beach volleyball court? Thank goodness there was no one there, so it was a safe landing there. Number 4, Robert Liriano, buzzer beater layup versus Norwood. I would have had this higher if it was, a playoff game, but what a moment. Live game. We had, a great call, the fans storming the court, and it was just, if they don't win that game, they don't win the TVL. So it was a big game for them to get that win over Norwood at home. Timmy Malloy, overtime winner, number 3. Timmy Malloy, a special player, multiple sports, and getting that goal in overtime, we're going to remember that for a while. I'd been talking before he even had that goal, how he elevates his game in the playoffs, and there's no better example than that, doing it on home ice in overtime, and we were there for the call. Number 2, we're getting into milestones. These are some special ones too. Bridget Mulkeen, 800 career strikeout, 100th career hit in the same game versus Malden Catholic. She is going to go down as the greatest to ever play softball at Westwood, and I don't think anyone's ever going to catch up to her. But amazing milestones to happen in the same game. You'll never see that again. Kate Sullivan, this is a special one. All-time points leader in girls hockey history. It's special because, she beat my sister. My sister had 180 points over her career, and she had a decorated history. Very proud of her. But for someone to beat that just shows the trajectory of the program and where it's going. And to have Kate Sullivan beat that record, someone who is, an amazing teammate, just an amazing leader, an amazing kid too. Very special moment. I'm a big hockey guy, so the hockey, that kind of gets in the mix too. So that was my number 1. Fantastic memories that I'll remember for a very long time from this upcoming season. But I'm very interested to hear the big dogs number 10 through 1 over here.
We had some similarities. I'll say a different order, but our top 4s had the same 4. I'll spoil that now. So my number 10, I had Angelina Holmesy's kill to tie Norwood in the game-winning set. That was a big moment. That was senior night. It was live on Westwood Media Center. Westwood had won the previous 2 sets. Third set would win the game, and Angelina Holmesy, Westwood's trying to make a comeback here in this third set to end the game in 3, and that tie was big. It was loud. It was a great environment, and they ultimately won. Number 9, I had Julie Hogan's dagger 3-pointer versus Walpole in the Riley Classic. That was a Riley Classic winning shot, and Walpole had, I can't remember the student's name, but number 20 for Walpole was an electric player.
She was
great, all scholastic.
Yeah.
One of the best basketball players on a non-Westwood team you've seen come through Westwood. But Julie Hogan, the banks were open that day.
She did have a bad foul on Charlotte Hurley, though.
She did.
Right after that play.
Right, but Julie Hogan with a big 3 to win it. Number 8, I had John Bertone and Max Burrell's home runs versus Bristol Plymouth RVT. We talk about it. We don't see home runs often at Russ Downs Field, but to see 2 in the exact same spot in the playoffs, That's big. That sent them to the next round, which I believe they lost to Plymouth North.
Yeah.
But that was a game. Bristol Plymouth was hanging in there. That was a high-scoring baseball game. I think the final score was 19-6. Right. So this was a shootout, and those 2 home runs sealed the deal for Westwood and sent them to the next round. Number 7, I had Nolan Lewis's overtime game winner versus Hopkinton. Another game we did live. We had Tom Nappy with us. What a great game. What a moment. A winner in overtime. That was a really good game too. Westwood starts off 3-0. Hopkinton claws back, ties it 3-3. We're going into overtime. And at this point, the TVL is not clinched by anyone. So every win matters at this point. And they're also trying to clinch playoffs at this point as well. That goal clinched it for Westwood for the playoffs, sent them to the playoffs to continue the streak that we talk about so much. Number 6, Annan Garen's insurance goal versus Hopkinton. One of the things we don't talk about much is Hopkinton was undefeated against the TVL up to that point for the past 2 years. They had not lost to any TVL large or small team in about 2 years up to that point. This was a team that was one of the best teams in the state across all divisions. And Westwood with the big upset that day. 3-1 win. Aaron Gannon's goal was the sealer there, and that was just an incredible goal. Number 5, I had Mario Vinci's block punt versus Bellingham. We know it was down at the 1. We've watched the footage. I think you and I would both disagree with that call, but we can't change the past. It was close. It was close. But what a block punt's big. That was a momentum thing too for Westwood. I mean, I look at that team at that point, and they were coming off a tough loss to Weymouth, a Division I team, top Division I team, and they needed to get momentum. And that play right there, I think, really strong momentum for Westwood football. Big. That swung it right back. They ended up winning that game 21-0. So that was a big game for them. Number 4, I had Kate Sullivan's assist to set the all-time leading points record for girls hockey versus Auburn. You weren't there for that game. You were out, but it was me and Tom Nappy and Michael McGrail. What a moment. I mean, that's history, and to see it happen in front of you is impressive. Like you said, one of the all-time greats through Westwood. The future Hall of Famer. Yeah. We've said enough. We've said so much about it already. There's not much more I can really add to it. Number 3, I had Robert Liriano's buzzer beater layup to win versus Norwood. The reason I put it a little higher than yours, Westwood boys basketball looked down and out for the TVL championship at that point in the season. Yeah. And they needed to win versus Norwood, versus Dedham, versus Hopkinton. And it started that night. And that buzzer beater is what started that. They ended up with a TVL championship. Yeah. They were down 3 games. They had to win all 3, and they clinched it. A big basket, and that momentum carried for them. Number 2, Bridget Mulkeen's 800 career strikeout and 100th career hit in the same game. Also someone who we've talked about a lot on the show, a great athlete, future Hall of Famer for sure. To get 2 major milestones in the same game is phenomenal. I mean, there's not much more you can say as well. 800 career strikeouts across 4 seasons. That's, I think, a little more than 800. That's average of 200 a season, which is astronomical. Those numbers you don't just see. So and the hitting, and it was a home run too. Yeah. That 100th career hit was a home run. So incredible. A big play. But my number 1 was Timmy Malloy's overtime winner versus King Philip. Not much. It's the playoffs. Playoff hockey. When we started covering, this is the first year I covered hockey with you, and you always said, playoff hockey's different. Playoff hockey's different. I've covered it before, but not with someone who was a part of the streak. And what an environment. And that was a testy game. Westwood and King Philip have a bit of a non-league rivalry there. They played earlier in that season, and King Philip got the better of them that game, 3-1. But Timmy Malloy's overtime winner, a 1-0 win. You can't write it better than that.
The goalies duel like that too, and it was back and forth. I mean, Quinn makes that huge save to keep them in it. There's no game-winning goal if Quinn doesn't make that save. And then to put that in the back of the net at home, where they haven't had a home game in a few years, and going up against the glass, celebrating with the Den like that, how loud it was, the pictures, just the electricity. What a moment. But yeah, I mean, I can't argue with that. It was an incredible hockey season, boys and girls. And then, the best part about this is allowing the community to come in and vote.
Yep.
And we have our opinions on what the best play is, but we want, to get the vote out there where we get the families involved. I'm sure there was a lot of people that had reached out to their second cousins they haven't heard from in 10 years. Hey, you know what to do here. You see the name, throw the vote in there. It's great. We're bringing families back together by getting the vote out there and celebrating, the sports. Top 10 votes.
Yeah, so we'll start off, we'll go one at a time. And another fun stat, about 161 votes over the course of the week and a half. So we had a lot of people vote. So this was a good chunk of the community. Last year we only had 50. So number 10 for the top 10 people's vote is Mackenzie Kaiser's perfectly placed pass to Aaron Gannon versus Bishop Stang. Now this was a playoff goal here.
Yeah.
I believe at that point in the game it was, I believe, either 1-1. It was either tie or Westwood was up one, but they needed a second goal to win.
Yeah.
And Mackenzie Kaiser just kind of kicked it up and in to a Gannon who was coming in and just caught the goalie off guard. I think the goalie almost thought that was a shot from Kaiser. I know on the broadcast we thought that.
We thought so too.
But Gannon comes in with a perfect pass and sealed the deal for Westwood to advance another round versus Bishop Stang. A great play all around and definitely worthy of number 10, I think.
Yeah, good things happen when you put the ball on net, when you put the puck on net, and high IQ by Gannon, just able to chip it and redirect it, put it in the back of the net. Big goal. I think it was the first goal. I think it was 0-0 game. That was the first one. And then Audrey Lake with the insurance goal in that game. But yeah, great goal. And speaking of Gannon, she is number 9. The insurance goal versus Hopkinton, voted number 9 by the community. And that, we said it, amazing play done by a freshman, by the way, who had basically 20 goals. She's going to probably break the goal record and points record at Westwood High School when all is said and done. But very, very memorable play. Number 8.
Number 8 was Angelina Holmesy's kill to tie Norwood in the game-winning set. We both had that on our list. Once again, it was one of those plays where in the moment it was so important for Westwood. They were up 2-0 in the set, and this third set was key to winning that game. Otherwise, you're going to fourth and potentially fifth. And Norwood, Norwood's one of those teams that could sneak up on you and get you. And they had led that set throughout most of the set actually, and Westwood started to crawl their way back, and that kill was big to tie the game for Westwood, keep momentum in their side, actually swing it back to Westwood so they could finish out the game strong, which they did. And once again, it was senior night, big moment. Westwood, I think at that point, at least clinched the playoffs. But still, you want to win every set you go on, and then it is a big play for Holmesy.
One of the most exciting places to hear and be in a crowd and watch a game, volleyball at Bader. And I think that was the play where Evan might need to turn the volume down. It was huge. Number 7, Mario Vinci blocked punt versus Bellingham. As you mentioned, Westwood had 3 home games on the schedule. They ended up getting a 4th one with the Framingham after their the playoff first round. But to get that win at home versus Bellingham was always tough. You're gonna have to have big plays like that, like they did on special teams. So big play by Mario to help them get a big win, and that was one because you make a big play like that, crowd gets wild, and they certainly did.
Like we said, it's a momentum swinger for the season. Westwood was a good team football-wise, but they're coming off a tough loss, and they need to get that momentum back and bounce back right. And that really, Mario Vinci in that play sets the tone for Westwood. And if special teams is doing well, offense and defense are going to play better, knowing, hey, one of the units has our back. So, Mario Vinci was a big play for him to swing that momentum back to Westwood. That was a much-needed play to kind of build that for the team over the season.
Absolutely. And number 6, Evan, we have a play that wasn't in either of our top 10s, but certainly a worthy play. Tell us a little bit about it.
So we have number 6, Jack Holland's game-winning touchdown pass to Thomas Warren versus Dedham. Now, this is one of our highlight games. So we have games that we film live, games that we film tape, and then sometimes we just have highlight reels of games that are away or whatever. Tom Lydon helped us out with that game. So Jack Holland, in that game versus Dedham, they were down. I don't know the exact score off the top of my head, but they were down, and in the last quarter, last couple of two-minute drill essentially for Westwood, you have to drive all the way down and score a touchdown. And with time expiring, Jack Holland throws a perfectly placed touchdown in the corner of the end zone to Thomas Warren. You can't write it better than that, to beat crosstown rival Dedham. And that's another one of those plays where you sort of need momentum throughout the season. That's one of those plays where it invigorates you. I don't think they lost. They might have lost somewhere around then. But they kept the momentum going. That was a big win they needed to get a share of the TVL title too, because it was between Holliston, Dedham, and Westwood. So, big play, definitely worthy of the top 10 mention here.
Yeah, and it was one of those games too. You had the feeling of whoever's got the ball in their hands at the end of the game is going to be the team that wins because they're going to be the one that scores last. That's exactly what happened. That game wasn't the best defensive game for either team, but sometimes the best defense is a good offense, and that got it done that night. Number 5, Trevor Ferreira's game-winning goal versus Norwood. That was a game that had the feeling of it's going to be a 0-0 tie. We're just going to walk away here with a tie, but it was a late goal. And it was an exciting goal. He shot that from outside.
Yeah.
And it was he's definitely a lefty.
Yeah.
I've picked up on that, where he's got a pretty good lefty boot and scored it high, back of the net, and he was fired up. Teammates are fired up.
It was definitely about a 30-yard shot.
Yeah.
It wasn't, sometimes you can score from the top of the box, the shooting box, but this was well outside the goalie box. This was well outside the zone. And Trevor Ferreira, you watch back the footage, he has 2 defenders on his right side. And he just goes out, gets enough separation on the players, and just gets his left foot off for a 30-yard shot. I mean, and it's a big shot. Like we mentioned, it was one of those games where we watched a lot of soccer this year. And we're like, this could go either way. This is going to be a 1-0 game, and it was. I believe it might have been 1-0 or 2-1. It was a 1-goal game, and that play was key. It was instrumental, and get a win over rival Norwood.
Yeah. Yep. Absolutely. Number 4, got Timmy Malloy overtime winner versus King Philip. So, we talked about that. It was in both of our top 10s. We talked a little bit about it, throughout the season and playoffs, but that's what it's all about. Scoring a big goal when the lights are brightest. Nothing better than that. And glad to see that the people came out and voted, in numbers for that. And, great memorable goal by Timmy.
Definitely, a worthy moment. It's a playoff goal in overtime, 1-0 game. I mean, it's stuff legends are made of, and it's definitely one he's going to remember for the rest of his life. I mean, that sends you to the next round. It's the first home playoff game, like you mentioned, in a long time for Westwood. And it's a big time play made by a big time player. I believe Malloy actually missed some time early in the season due to injury, right?
Mono.
So he to come back from injury early in the season and to work his way back and have one of the biggest moments all year, just huge for him and Westwood hockey as a whole.
Not how you start, how you finish.
Exactly.
You become a legend in the playoffs too. And Evan, we have reached the top 3 voted on by you, the viewers. And number 3, what do we got?
We have Julie Hogan's dagger 3-pointer versus Walpole in the Riley Classic, and this
off the glass.
Yep, and this is a worthy play. We talk about TVLs a lot, and we talk about playoff games and stuff like that. But these in-season tournaments are just as valuable. You're playing for your team, and to win a tournament and to have a tournament named after legendary coach Bill Riley, friend of the podcast, and it's hosted by at one of his teams he coached for. It's big. You want to win that. If that's your pride for your school there, and going against a tough Walpole team. Another one of those non-league rivalries that Westwood has.
Yeah.
Whenever Westwood and Walpole meet, it's a good game. It's a fight no matter what sport it's in. So you're still playing, even if it's just an in-season tournament. You're still playing for a championship in that sense. And Westwood comes away with the Riley Classic that year, and it doesn't happen without that 3-pointer.
Makes you think that Walpole would be a great fit in the TVL.
Yeah, no, it would. There's a lot of great rivalries. I mean, Walpole, between them and Norwood, them and Westwood, them and Dedham, that sort of Route 1.
Yeah.
Sort of
Crosstown. They know the kids know each other.
Yep.
And they've probably played on club teams, growing up and still do. But I completely agree. The other thing I want to add to that, Julie Hogan was a sophomore. That's like, what you remember when you build on your confidence. It's because of big plays like that when you're an underclassman, when you're like, clock was winded down, rival game, tournament game, Riley Classic, and to get that, that dagger, basket, huge, and big play. Number 2, John Quinn and the save on the breakaway. It was basically a 2-on-0 on the breakaway going the other way, and Westwood does not win this game, folks, if he doesn't make this timely, huge save. And he was cool, calm, collected. I mean, when I interviewed him after the game, he's like, well, I either make it or I don't. And I kind of love that mindset. We've interviewed him a few times.
It's one of those plays where you go back and watch, if you watch the game as a whole, Westwood and King Philip, it was really a goalie battle. There were shots by each team that any other game, that might have been that's a shot that goes in.
Yeah.
Just this game, for whatever reason, those two goalies were on their game all the way to the end. Even King Philip's goalie, who let up the overtime winner, it's one goal. I mean, there was probably 40, 50 shots in that game from each team. They had a lot of great looks, a lot of great, shots. Both goalies were just on their A game that day. It was career games for both of them. And John Quinn, that big one-on-one save. I mean, that's hard for any goalie. Even you look at the NHL, you look at the NCAA, if that type of breakaway happens, it's 50-50 sometimes.
Yeah.
Quinn just got the better of that goal, and that's why Westwood won. A big reason. It doesn't happen. It starts there and it ends with Malloy.
And the goal, the overtime winner, was not long after that. It was about like 2 minutes. I was actually saying, I was saying hopeless, and unless you roll back like a minute, you'll understand what I'm saying is hopeless. It's a hopeless feeling when you have a breakaway like that and this goalie, stuns you like that.
Yeah.
And the other thing I want to mention too is you can tell by the tone on that play when I go, "Saved by Quinn."
Yeah.
That was just showing how big that save. That save is big as any goal.
Yeah.
And shout out to John. I mean, memorable play, and certainly deserving of the number 2 spot. And drum roll. Number 1, Evan. Who do we got?
Number 1 was Nolan Lewis's overtime game winner versus Hopkinton. What a play that was! I mean, that was the playoff clinching goal for Westwood there, continue the streak, make it 42 years.
Yep.
A big goal, big momentum setter for the playoffs, tone setter is what it was.
Yeah.
And it was a great game. That overall was a great game. Westwood had a great start to the game, let Hopkinton get back in it. They managed to get it to overtime. Westwood comes out victorious, and off of Nolan Lewis's overtime shot. What a goal. I think up until that point, I think that was the loudest I ever heard you. And, we had a couple loud moments overall in the season, but what a goal by Lewis. I mean, we've talked about it each in our lists. Just an incredible goal.
Yeah, and in the young career of Nolan Lewis, who's now captain-elect going into next year. Some special moments. Had his uncle Timmy on the call for a second period of the Dartmouth game, and he scored a goal.
Yep.
And it's pretty special to have Timmy there to be there and to get his emotional reaction to that. But that was also, Hopkinton's kind of been a thorn in the side of Westwood the last few years. Last year, Westwood lost twice. The year before, they lost twice. Hopkinton was the reigning TVL champ. We played them in the playoffs 3 years ago in the round of 16 and lost to them. They went on to the state championship, lost to Canton. But it was, to beat them twice this year, that was awesome. And, to win that second one at home in overtime, that's going to be a very, very special memory for the Lewis household for many, many years to come. So.
It was a big goal by a big-time player, and he's still in his young career. I believe he was a sophomore last year.
Yes.
So 2 more years of Nolan Lewis, and it was big for them too, because also Westwood got their TVL championship by beating teams like Hopkinton. They had a TVL championship for the first time in a few years now, and it doesn't happen if you don't have a couple big plays like that. You need that Nolan Lewis game winner to get the TVL. So excellent play, definitely worthy of a number 1. There's a lot of plays on here worthy of a number 1, but Nolan Lewis winning the fan vote, and an excellent job by him in that game.
Yeah. All right, so Evan, let's recap again real quick. Top 10 voted by the people.
Top 10 voted by the people. Number 10, Mackenzie Kaiser's perfectly placed pass to Aaron Gannon versus Bishop Stang. Number 9, Aaron Gannon's insurance goal versus Hopkinton. Number 8, Angelina Holmesy's kill to tie Norwood in the game-winning set. Number 7, Mario Vinci's block punt versus Bellingham. Number 6, Jack Holland's game-winning touchdown pass to Thomas Warren versus Dedham. Number 5, Trevor Ferreira's game-winning goal versus Norwood. Number 4, Team Malloy's overtime winner versus King Philip. Number 3, Julie Hogan's dagger three-pointer versus Walpole in the Riley Winter Classic. Number 2, John Quinn's one-on-one save versus King Philip. And number 1, Nolan Lewis's overtime game winner versus Hopkinton.
And folks, we are joined by Mr. Number 1 himself, Nolan Lewis, voted number 1 by the people, his overtime winning goal versus the Hopkinton Hillers. And it was no, ordinary goal. It was an important goal, folks. To win the TVL large title, you have to beat the rivals like Hopkinton in dramatic fashion, by the way. Talk us through that goal. How exciting was that for you? How big was that for the confidence going into the postseason?
It was a big goal, beating rivals twice, especially in overtime. That goal, we started on the power play.
Yeah.
Kind of was just looking to get his own entry. A couple times had to get some speed, went out of the zone, came back in, tried to attack. Brady slid me the puck, great pass, and then just buried from there.
I remember the interview too we had after that game. You said you were looking back door, and then ultimately went with the shot. Was that short side, far side? Where'd you put that puck?
Short side high. It was open. I mean, his glove was down, so took a look. I was looking back door, give a little backdoor pass, but I saw short side high and just let it rip.
Now this is a big season for you this past season. You came in, the two things that really stuck out for me is your speed was just off the charts. Your IQ has always been something we've talked about for the last few years. How much work did you put into the season last year? And is that a rewarding like full circle moment of, yeah, that's why I worked so hard, and a reminder of what it takes to be a difference like that?
Yeah, going to the gym, off ice, working out with the team. I mean, we all did a great job. Everyone was there, everyone showed up. And it was really rewarding having that show in the season. So,
and how big is that for your confidence? I mean, at that point in the season, you guys are still in the hunt for the TVL championship. I don't know if you'd clinched it yet at that point, but you were very close to clinching it. Playoffs are approaching. It's one of the most intense times of the year of the season. How was that goal and that play big, not just for your confidence, but the team confidence as well?
It was helped. That clinched the playoffs right there. So gave us a good starting point going into the playoffs.
Are you guys thinking about the streak? I know I was as a coach, but as a player, is that in your mind?
Yeah,
yeah,
always.
Love that. And that's something special because Nolan's uncle Timmy was part of the streak in the early 90s, won back-to-back state championships at Westwood. We had Timmy on the call for a period in the Dartmouth game.
Yeah.
How exciting was that to have?
That was good, yeah. I actually took a look and I saw him up there and I kind of chuckled during the game. So, yeah, it's good to see him up there.
You caught him off guard a little bit too. You had a fantastic goal. We thought you were going to, just shoot pretty quickly. No, you held on to it, found some more net, put it back in net, and he was pretty excited about it. Talk us through, ahead. So you were captain-elect. You're one of 3 juniors that are going to be captain next year, and that's fantastic. What are you most excited about that opportunity as well as the team coming back next year?
Just to get to know the guys coming up. Really just bond as a team and take our game to the next level and maybe make a good run.
Yeah, you certainly had a fantastic run this year. And, on our top 10 voted by the people, we obviously had a couple hockey ones on there. Johnny Quinn, his save in overtime was number 2. How important was that?
That was insane. That was one of the best saves I've seen. So.
That fired us up.
Yeah.
We were loud on that one. And then got to talk about the Timmy Malloy overtime winner. Is that why we play hockey, for game winners like that?
Yes.
I mean, that's a memory. Are you going to remember that the rest of your life?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That was the best feeling.
And got to give a shout out to my man over here. So went viral for his hug. He did like the Swayman and Ulmark hug with Sevy O'Brien after the game. What a great teammate you were doing that, and that's a moment I'll remember for the rest of my life too.
Yeah.
But Nolan, thank you so much for coming and talking about the number 1 play. Congratulations, by the way, number 1 play voted on by your peers, and excited about the upcoming season.
Yeah, me too.
And that is going to wrap it up, folks. Thank you for tuning in to the Wolverine Report, episode 42, top 10. Looking forward to seeing you all on the next one.